Welcome to the second half of what I read in June. So nothing crazy this time. There were only 6 books in this list, and I will not be doing any spoilers like normal. We will just be talking about what my Goodreads rating was and kind of why I gave it that, and like, will I continue the series? Hi everyone, I'm Lisa, author of the Frosted Misfortunes Cozy Mystery Series, starring my own little kitty cat, Lucky. On this channel, we talk all about movies. No, mysteries. I don't know why I said movies. Whether those are books, TV shows, or movies. So if this sounds like you or something you might be interested in, make sure to hit the subscribe button below. We post new videos every Tuesday. So we're just going to do the list in the order in which I read them, so no other particular reason that I'm going in this order. All right, so the first book is Tokyo Ever After, and I gave this book a 4. This is by Emiko. It is, I believe, book 1 of 2. I think there's a second one coming out. It's a young adult romance, and it's basically the Japanese version of Princess Diaries with a couple different changes to it. I did confirm to me, though, that I shouldn't say never, I really am not into young adults anymore, only because the way young adults is written right now, it is written by a lot of people who are Gen X, which is my age, I'm 47, and also Gen Y, which is millennials, who grew up with that movie Mean Girls, where it's so much drama where girls are backstabbing each other and just treating each other like garbage. And I really don't think that's the case anymore. Gen Z does not do that. So there was another movie that came out, I believe last year, Booksmart, and it was amazing. It was these 2 girls who just totally loved on each other, flooded each other with compliments, and were super supportive and encouraging of each other. And I absolutely loved it. It was like a very feel-good movie, and it was amazing. Like, there still was conflict without having any of this crazy mean girl stuff. And I think what's happening, my guess is, all of the people in my generation and the millennials are writing these young adult books right now, and they're going off their past memories of being like, I guess, slut shamed or like fat shamed or whatever in school, and having other people be mean to them. And so those are their experiences that they're putting into young adult books right now, versus I think having that newer, fresher perspective. I hope more Gen Z people start writing young adult books, because I think they will be much more positive and uplifting. And I think that's the one good thing to come out of social media, is it's no longer acceptable, I feel like, within that generation to sort of cyberbully each other, even though that was a big thing when the internet first came out. I really don't. I think it's kind of the opposite right now. So anyways, that's my take on it. So let's get back to this book, Tokyo Ever After. Basically, she's mean girled by her cousins, and then she's stabbed in the back by other people. So it's like, she is this woman who has no idea who her dad is, and she keeps asking her mom, and then finally she is able to find him somehow, figures out that she is a part of royalty. He's like a royal prince of Japan. And so she writes to him, and he's like, why don't you come over to Japan? She heads over there, and that's when all the mean girl stuff starts happening. The next book is Merlin Fights a Ghost. So this is book number 2 by Molly Fitz in the Merlin the Magical Fluff book, and I absolutely loved it and gave it a 5. Her books are really entertaining. They're light. They're what I would call the ultimate beach read. There is just happiness and entertainment and funniness. Is that even a word? Funniness? I think I just made that up. Basically, what I really like is she's totally flipped the world. So cats are witches and humans are your familiars. So the star of the book is a familiar to Merlin, and they, in the book previously, so I don't want to ruin it for you, but they think it might be a ghost reoccurring that was like a bad character, evil character from before, and so they're doing all this work to try to fend off this evil ghost, but it turns out to be a different ghost. So anyway, so I don't want to ruin it for you. It's super cute. You should totally read it. But I would say, if you can definitely read it without reading book 1, but you'll enjoy it much more if you read the first book. The next one is Booked for Death by Victoria Gilbert. So this is number 1 in the Book Lovers B&B Mysteries, and I gave this book a 3. It was good. It was entertaining. It wasn't bad. Like, I totally finished it. Obviously, it was on audiobook, and it's about a retired school teacher who inherits her aunt's B&B, and she's like, I'm just going to run it. I don't know if, like, I think she was sick of being a teacher, so it just kind of naturally came up. And she also has the bitter, like, divorce, dumped woman syndrome going on, which I don't know why every cozy mystery seems to have that lately. Anyways, the only thing I didn't like about it is that she inherits this really great, fabulous place for free from her aunt, as well as she inherits all this money that is in a trust fund that I don't know why she has to, it's like Britney Spears. She has to go to this other woman and ask permission to get money out of her own trust fund, even though she's clearly like a grown, I think she's like 45 or something, adult. Anyways, her aunt who's given her all this stuff, like people are putting rumors and they're like, oh, maybe your aunt was sleeping around or she stole stuff. And so instead of defending this woman who clearly has bequeathed her entire fortune, she's like, oh, maybe she is. Like, I would be really upset if I left everything that I own to one of my relatives and then they are just like trash talking me. Are not at least trying to defend me. I don't know. Seems kind of annoying. So there's a murder that happens in this book. But basically, she throws a party. It's like a themed party. And so everyone's in costumes. And one of the guests is killed. And this guy had just gotten in a fight with this kid because they didn't want to let her go off to some art school. And then he was also like 2-timing or 3-timing his wife with other women. And then at the same time, he also was doing other shady things. So in general, we find out he's not a very likable guy anyway, which was kind of interesting because usually if somebody is someone's dad, they're likable, right? Just by being a parent. So I did think that was interesting. And I did like the rest of the series aside from that one small part. The next one is Bone Canyon by Lee Goldberg. And this is number 2 in the Eve Ronan series. And I gave this book a 5. So this is a police procedural thriller. I really love the first one. I give that one a 5 too. It's basically about this female detective who's very brave and just kind of goes out there and does everything. She's basically Chloe Decker from Lucifer without a Lucifer to help her around. So her mom is this struggling actress in Hollywood who's super vapid and all concerned about her looks. And so now that she's kind of pseudo famous from the last book, she's like, you should be really worried about who's going to play you in the movie and keep up your appearance, like silly things like that. That's basically what her mother does. And then on top of it, she has a sister who's trying to set her up with a physical therapist because she did hurt herself in the last book. I don't want to ruin it for you. And so she needs a physical therapist, and her sister is an emergency room nurse, so she knows other people in the medical field. But the whole point of this one, it's called Bone Canyon because after the forest fires in Southern California, they turn up, I guess, like dead bodies end up turning up. I don't really know how that works, but they find the bones of a woman and they can't identify her. And so she's all about trying to figure out who this victim is and who killed. The next book is The Big Chili by Julia Buckley. And this is number 1 in the Undercover Dish Mysteries. And I gave this book a 2. So the reason they're called Undercover Dish is because this woman's whole existence is about cooking meals. She's, I guess, a really good chef for other people so that they can pretend that they cooked it, which seems like a, I guess, good idea, except I feel like that doesn't apply anymore. Like maybe back in the 1950s when women tried to pretend to their husbands that they could cook. But even then, like, I don't know where they'd get the money to buy the food. So it doesn't really make any sense, like her whole career and why she's doing this. But basically, she makes chili for a cookout for somebody else to pass off as their own. And somebody dies from eating that chili, but somehow it's just that one person, which seems kind of odd to me that they were able to target one person at a event where tons of people are eating from tons of different bowls. I don't know. So anyway, so this woman who she is pretend cooking for the poisonous chili has a son who is the detective that is working on the case. So she's trying to set them up as well. So it's kind of weird. She's like, make sure you don't tell him the truth that I cooked for, that you cooked for me. And she's like, swear that you will lie to him, which is kind of funny because she really likes this guy. She ends up like having a crush on this guy, even though she complains the whole book about how her ex lied to her and cheated on her. So it just seems a little hypocritical. Anyways, The oddest part about this book is that this character is supposed to be 27 and her brother are like besties, and the family always sings, but she's always singing super old songs even though she's 27, and they like dressing up together. So she's like, oh, we should dress up as Sonny and Cher, which this book was written in 2015, and I don't know anybody who knows who Sonny and Cher is who's in their 20s or even their 30s. Like, that is so old and ancient. So that was kind of odd. The other thing too is her and her brother have this weird Italian fetish. And so it just kind of brought like PTSD for me, like people who are always like like they say something offensive, like they have yellow fever or they really wish they could make it with an Asian. Like, it's so, I can't even tell you, awful and condescending. So they're both like, oh, we have an Italian fetish, and we only like dating Italian people, and we like Italian men. And so anyways, the two of them are just that's all they're into. And so her brother ends up bringing home a girlfriend from the college, which I don't know how old he is. They don't really say, but he seems like an adult. I don't know. When I was in college, because I went to a traditional 4-year where you stayed in the dorms, it would be like super icky to date anybody who was a townie, because I don't know, you just dated people that were in college with you, that were the same age as you, that you met at parties. No one wanted to there were a few people, but I mean, no one really wanted to date like an adult. You know what I mean? Like, just wasn't fun. Okay, I'm now being very judgy, so I'm going to stop. But that's why I gave the book a 2 and will not be continuing in the series. The next one is Assault and Battering by Tess Rothery. It's number 1 in the Taylor Quinn Quilt Shop Mysteries. Now, I gave this book, I really wish I could give this book 2 ratings. I would give it a 5 just for women's fiction, because it was super depressing. It was very angsty. There was like so much drama and like girl like anger and fighting. But I would also give it a 1 as a mystery, as a cozy, because it was just such a huge Debbie Downer. Like, there was no happy ending, no rainbow at the end of the storm, no light at the end of the tunnel. So basically, here's what happened. So it's not even like a mystery. Her mother, she comes home and she has to come home for her mom's funeral. And she has this younger sister who I guess is like 10 years younger than her that she never talks to. And she's been really busy, so she ignored her because I guess there's such a big age gap. On top of that, this younger sister is adopted, and the dad also is dead, who I guess the dad died like right after they adopted this daughter. And so we find out that this daughter has no legal rights to anything, because she's not really the adopted daughter. Her mom is just the legal guardian, because her original birth mother just left her with her. She's like, hey, I can't really take care of this kid. Why don't you just take this kid for me? See you later. And so that was the case. So this girl is like, I don't have anyone. You haven't visited in 10 years. You don't even come home for holidays or Christmases. So there's all this. And then on top of that, she lives with her grandfather, who like, it sounds like has dementia, has like weird things going on, is like yelling at them for like crazy things, like, you're stealing from me. You need to pay rent. You can't live here for free. Right. So it is total like super awful, depressing drama. And then on top of it, she takes her sister to see the counselor at school, and the counselor's like, well, you should help her to try to let her figure out if her mom was really murdered or something. It's declared an accident. So we don't even find out until like the 70% mark how the mom died, like when they finally start investigating it. So they find out that the mom was out on a trip with 4 other women, and nobody knows. She just all of a sudden is dead or something. So it was just so bizarre. It didn't really feel like a mystery. It really just felt like depressing drama. And I just kind of felt down after I was done reading it. The thing is, though, the reason I said 5 for women's fiction is because she did a great job of like all of those dynamics of like the anger and the hurt and the guilt and all of those other things. But that wasn't really why I read the book. I was just reading it for a light, fun, cozy mystery, which it was like deep and heavy and depressing. But if you like that, this could be the book for you. So that's a wrap. Those are all the books that I read for June. And I actually finished that, I feel like, earlier in June, but I was so depressed from that book. I was like, I'm just going to take a break from reading books altogether because that was so heavy. And that's only because I'm not into drama. Like even TV shows, like we're at home, Ben watches all of the like Billions, like all those backstabbing shows where people are evil to each other. I never watch those because I feel like I lived those when I was in corporate America, so I don't want to rewatch those. And I just don't, I just want something to kind of cheer me up and be happy and have a happily ever after. And it doesn't have to be romance. Like, this is why I think I like superhero movies so much, because they always have a happily ever after and everybody gets what they deserve. So anyways, so that is what I read in June. I do have a list of DNFs. There were like 6 DNFs, but I think I might do a DNF, or I might do a, because a couple of them were really popular. Like, we're talking like 16,000 reviews because they were so popular and people loved them, but I didn't. So I might do that video instead of the DNF. So anyways, we will see. I will end up filming that next week, and then you'll know because it'll be on the channel. All right. I hope everyone's having a fabulous day, and I'll talk to you guys later.